Hello, international students, and welcome to Kansas State University. I am Buglarka Davies, Associate Director of ISSS, and I will lead you through this immigration session. First, I'd like to introduce you to your advising staff. Your advisors are assigned to you based on your first letter of your last or family name. We have our director, Stacy Bailey, and then I introduced myself, Buglarka Davies. I'm the Associate Director, and I am responsible for students' last names H through O. Dave Hebing is one of our international student advisors, and he's responsible for last names P through Z. And Jake Shelley is our other international student advisor, and he's responsible for last names A through G. Victoria Gramp is our sponsored student coordinator, and she's responsible for all international students. I'd also like to show you our website so you know how to navigate it because there are so many useful information you can find there. So this is our ISSS homepage, and in this purple ribbon, you can find many important and relevant information to you. If you click on the About link here and meet the staff, you can view all of our staff members here. If you go to the next tab, you will be able to see relevant information for prospective students, admitted students, orientation, F1 students, J1 students, health insurance, and sponsored students. These will be very important tabs for you that will be very helpful to know where you can find them. Later on in the presentation, we will also talk about resources, and those will also be very helpful. So for now, let's go into students and view orientation. This is your orientation website, and the first and foremost thing that you have to do when you arrive to Manhattan is to check in with our office. If you click in this ISSS check-in survey, you will complete your check-in requirements with our office. After that, you can also view an arrival checklist, and it will have all the information that you need to do before you start your classes. If I click on this link, Arrival Checklist, you will see all your to-do lists. I will talk to you about most of this information in this presentation. So going back to our PowerPoint, this is the check-in that I had showed you just a little bit ago, and there are very important information on this document that you need to complete before you start your classes. Again, if you have not checked in with ISSS yet, please complete that as soon as possible. One of the items on your checklist is to take care of your TB requirements. You may have already completed the online requirements that you can find built into your admissions package, but as an international student, you also have to visit Lafayette Health Center physically to complete the full TB requirements. To be able to complete this physical requirement, you have to call Lafayette or go on your patient portal and schedule an appointment with them. Once you schedule this appointment, you'll be able to go and meet with the nurse. This is very important. This requirement, if you don't complete this requirement by the summer term, this could lead to disenrollment in your summer classes, and that would be a very difficult task to fix. So be sure you complete this requirement as soon as possible. Now I'd like to touch base about a few basic information about immigration. To maintain your legal immigration status while completing your degree in the U.S., it is crucial to understand the information here about your status. Maintaining your immigration status, it is your responsibility. If you have questions, you can consult with ISSS, but not a friend or any other offices. Your ISSS advisors are the only ones who are trained in immigration advising and can guide you to the best possible solution for your scenario. Failing to maintain your status can lead to serious consequences, including arrest, deportation, future entry restrictions, and/or long-term ban from re-entering the U.S. Some of the important terms and documents that I'm going to touch base on is non-immigrant. A non-immigrant is an alien seeking temporary admission to the U.S. for a specific purpose with plans to leave afterwards. F1 and J1 students are non-immigrants. A DSO, or designated school official, is someone at your school who is authorized to communicate with DHS or DOS about immigration matters, and these are your ISSS advisors. Your status refers to the activity for which the non-immigrant has been allowed to enter the U.S. For student, your purpose is to study. And CVIS is the database used to create an I-20 or DS 2019. Only authorized DSOs on campus can access it to track students' data, including your identity, admissions, enrollment, addresses, work authorizations, and benefits requested. Now I am going to show you a few of your immigration documents and a few facts about them. So your passport, obviously you know what it looks like, but it's issued by your country and it must be valid at least 6 months into the future. This is a sample of your visa page, and some of the things I would point out is marked with red, your type of visa, your number of entries. It could be M for multiple. Some of the countries may have restrictions and they may have 1 or 2 entries. And then your expiration date. The visa is a stamp that a U.S. embassy or consulate attached to a page in your passport. It gives you the right to knock on the door, as we say, of a U.S. port of entry. The U.S. visa indicates, again, your visa type, how many times you may enter, and the last date on which the visa may be used to request entry. This document can expire while you are in the U.S. as long as you are maintaining your status. So if it's expired, you do not have to leave. The next time you would have to get a new visa is if you do depart the U.S. and you try to come back. This would be a sample of an entry stamp. You should have this stamp in your passport as part of your arrival record, along with an I-94 that you get online. Sometimes you don't get this entry stamp as long as your I-94 information is accurate. That should be okay. But an entry stamp should be given at the port of entry when you arrive into the U.S., and this stamp should request the date of your admission, class of admission, and the date the student is admitted until. Hopefully your admit until date is D/S. That stands for duration of status. If it isn't and it's a specific date, please reach out to ISSS so we can look into your situation. This is the I-94 website. If you have completed the check-in survey with our office, we've already asked you to get this I-94 document. But you can see here, you can visit cbp.gov/I-94 website to obtain your admissions number. Print this page with the number and keep with your passport and I-20 DS 2019. Be certain the class of admissions is correct, which is F1 for students with an I-20 and J1 for students with a DS 2019. And be sure the admit until date is D/S, duration of status. If this information is not correct, contact ISSS immediately. Submit a copy to ISSS once if you have not already done so. And the best way to connect with ISSS and your advisor is to send an email to our main email account, which is isss@ksu.edu. I would also like to point out that your most current I-94, you should always carry that document with you, whether that's on your phone or you have a physical copy, maybe in your wallet. You should always have it with you. This is what a sample of your most recent I-94 looks like. And you can view there the status given up upon your entry, your class of admission, your admit until date. So make sure all that information is accurate. This is your Form I-20. A few things I would like to point out is always pay attention to your program and date. That is something that it cannot expire if you are still trying to maintain your status as an F1 student. If you need an extension because you have not finished your studies, you need to do that and take care of that before this program and date is coming. And then on the second page is where you would get a travel signature, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. This is your Form DS 2019. Again, there is a red arrow that shows your program end date. And then you see on page 1 on the right corner on the bottom, it will say travel signature, and that's where you would get a travel signature. So top things to know for international students. I will go through this, and then I will also show you some of this information on our website. This entire PowerPoint will also be added in your Canvas course under immigration session. So you will have the ability to go back to the PowerPoint anytime you want. So keep your local US address up to date. Keep your residential address current in cases within 10 days of moving. Again, you need to update this within 10 days of your move. J1 students must also email isss@ksu.edu with an update. You always have to maintain your immigration documents. Attend the school noted on your I-20 or DS 2019. Your I-20 and DS 2019 must match your full-time enrollment institution. Follow transfer procedures if switching schools. Understand your completion date. Your I-20 or DS 2019 is valid only while you are a full-time student in your degree program or approved for post-completion training. If you graduate early, your completion date will be updated to reflect your final semester's end date. If your final semester is summer, you must be enrolled. To extend your program, apply for an extension before your I-20 or DS 2019 program end date. Get a travel endorsement and understand your travel documents. Before traveling internationally, check the ISSS travel page and get a travel signature from ISSS. Travel signatures are valid for 1 year during your program of study or 6 months during F1 post-completion OPT or STEM extension. You have to maintain full-time enrollment. You must be enrolled full-time each semester. Full-time definitions are provided later in this session and is also available on our website to view. Get approval from ISSS before reducing your course load or withdrawing. Reducing your course load is only available in very limited situations. And we can talk about that later on, or you can schedule an appointment with your international student advisors if you find yourself in a situation where you would need to utilize a reduced course load. You need to be aware of your employment limitations. U.S. immigration law limits F1 and J1 student work, but on-campus jobs such as a research assistant or a student hourly worker are allowed without additional authorization. You can work up to 20 hours per week during the academic year. And then you need to understand your grace period. F1 students have a 60-day grace period following the end of the program of study or authorized post-completion OPT or STEM extension. F1 students may use the grace period to depart the U.S., continue studies via a change of level or a transfer to a new school, or apply for post-completion OPT employment. On the other hand, J1 students have a 30-day grace period following the end of their program of study or post-completion academic training. J1 students may only use the grace period for departure. Any transfer procedures or post-completion academic training requests must be submitted before the end of the program of study or DS 2019 expiration. So now I will go navigate back to our website and show you where to find all this awesome information. Just in case you don't remember everything we talked about today, it is important for you to know where to find all this information. So if you on the purple ribbon, you navigate to students, and we have F1 students, and there's all these possibilities of paperwork and things that you can find on our website that will be very helpful. For example, if you need to extend your I-20, you can click on this tile and we'll have some FAQ informations and then the forms that are associated with the requested paperwork. You can find information on dependents. If you would like to bring your dependent to the US as an F1, F2, or J2, you can find information about that process here. And up here, you can always find the related paperwork that you need to complete in order for us to process your request. You can find out information on how to maintain your status. This is a very informative page, and you need to make sure you view this often to make sure that you are not violating your status. If you want to learn about employment, you can learn about the on-campus employment options, and you can learn about maybe some authorizations that you're interested in that are off campus. Such authorizations would be CPT, which is curricular practical training, OPT, which is optional practical training, or the STEM extension after your post-completion OPT. So these are very helpful information that you can find on our website that I highly suggest you look into. Students that are J1s can find the same information under the J1 Students tab and can find the same information about travel, employment that are relevant to their J1 visa status. Now I'm going to navigate back to our PowerPoint. And go to the next slide. So, like I said, a lot of this information you can find on our website, and we will also have this PowerPoint available in this Canvas course. So I am not going to go into great detail, but just so you guys know, employment, again, on-campus employment, students can work up to 20 hours a week on campus while classes are in session, and those and unlimited time during the breaks. However, there could be some institutional policies that would still not that you would still not be able to do as many hours as you would want over, for example, the summer term. But know that during the school year, during the semesters of spring and fall, you are limited to work 20 hours or less per week. And again, we've talked about some of the employment information that you can view on our website. There could be a possibility that you can request a curricular practical training and then later on an optional practical training. And again, you can find more information on our website about those. For the dependents, again, you find the link on our website that talks about on the process of getting your dependents to the US. And I highly suggest you take a look at that. J students, they have the same restrictions on the 20 hours per week on campus while classes are in session. And again, unlimited during the breaks, but we would ask you to check with your departments on institutional policies about working, how many hours you can work during the breaks. Your additional work authorization would be something that's called academic training, and you can review our website for more information on that. Then your dependents, again, information on our website. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to isss@ksu.edu. Here are some helpful information for J1 students about academic and government programs divisions and their mailing addresses. the Wilberforce Trafficking and Victims Act. If you are coming to the United States to work or study, we are confident that you will have a pleasant and rewarding stay. If you should encounter any problems, however, know that you have rights and can get help. The pamphlet linked below informs you of your rights as a non-immigrant visa holder in certain employment and education-based categories. Specifically, and you can view here the specific visa types, and the U.S. government created this pamphlet at the promoting of the William Wilberforce Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act. Which reaffirms and strengthens the U.S. government's commitment to fight human trafficking and labor abuses in all their forms. On that link that you see, you can view more information on your rights and protections. If you are an exchange student, you are not admitted into an actual degree program. Your period of study is usually 1 or 2 semesters. And if you are an F1, you are only eligible for OPT if you are enrolled for a full academic year, so a 2-semester program. If you are a J1, you may be eligible for some academic training, and you would need to see an ISSS advisor for additional information. And now your enrollment requirements. I'm going to navigate back to the website. And then I'm going to show you your enrollment requirements, which you can find in these purple tabs. So for full-time enrollment full-time enrollment is required in the fall and spring semesters, and we'll talk a little bit about summer as well. For undergraduate students, the minimum of 12 credit hours is required for full-time enrollment. For graduate students who do not have an assistantship, you need to be in 9 credit hours. And for graduate students who do have an assistantship that are a 0.4 or 0.5, your minimum requirements are 6 credit hours. If you are coming to do an English language program only, your minimum requirement is 18 credit hours. Again, you can find all this information on the website if you happen to forget, and you need to reach out to your ISSS advisor if for some reason you can't meet full-time requirements, and see if you have another option by any chance. I will add to that you can take 1 class up to 3 credits of online classes. Everything else would need to be in person. Now I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. And this is talking about summer enrollment. So summer enrollment is only required if summer is your first semester, which is your situation, or your last semester at K-State. During the last semester, you must have an on-campus course, and you may be eligible for a reduced course load. You will just need to talk to an ISSS advisor. So full-time summer enrollment is defined for undergrads as 12 credit hours. For grad students with no assistantship, it's 6 credit hours. And for grad students with an assistantship is 1 credit hour. English language program students will have to be in at least 18 credit hours. Again, you are permitted 1 class, no more than 3 credits to be online, and everything else would need to be in person. For graduate students who have an assistantship and only need to be enrolled in 1 credit hour for that first semester, which is this summer for you, that class has to be in person. Exceptions to full-time enrollment, again, we are very limited on what that could be. And prior approval is always required. So you can't drop and then ask us, was that okay? You need to let us know ahead of time to see if there is an option for you to maybe drop below. But some of the reasons why you could request a reduced course load is for medical reasons that need to be documented by a medical professional. Or if you have any initial academic difficulties and that's only available during the first semester, or if you're completing all your courses and you have a final semester, but you don't need a full course load. Again, you must talk to ISSS before you drop below full-time. Changes of in your program of study. F1 students are permitted to change their major field of study or level of education. This type of change requires admission into another major or level of education, and then ISSS will issue you a new I-20. For J1 students, they must remain in the major field of study and within the category objectives stated on the DS 2019. You may change levels of education progressively as long as it's within the same objective. This too requires admissions into a higher degree level, and then ISSS will issue you a new DS 2019. A note about being outside the US while classes are in session. So significant breaks or absences from classes could affect your university status as well as your immigration status. If you must depart the US while classes are in session, you need to contact ISSS, your academic advisor or your department, and student support and accountability. Reach out to ISSS in advance to discuss how this could impact your immigration record, including possible student benefits and future entries into the US. Students who participate in education abroad experiences and/or research abroad should notify ISSS prior to your departure. If you get dismissed from your program, that can affect your immigration status. A dismissal prevents you from enrolling in the following semester. If you are dismissed, contact ISSS immediately. ISSS will receive notification from your department about your dismissal. We then email students to advise them on their options in order to assist in maintaining your status. But be sure to read all emails from ISSS. The way that ISSS communicates, we will use your K-State email. That's the official way of communication, and get used to using that K-State email and checking it regularly. International travel, you must have your documents properly endorsed prior to traveling outside the US. Travel signatures are good for 1 year from the date you plan to return to the US. Your I-20 should be endorsed by a DSO on page 2, and your DS 2019 should be endorsed within the travel validation section on page 1. Your passport must be valid at least 6 months in the future from the date of entry, and your visa stamp must be valid to enter the US. There are a few exceptions to this rule. Check with ISSS when you come for a travel endorsement. And then as far as travel goes, if you get an I-515, the first and most important thing is that you reach out to your ISSS advisor so we can take care of this documentation. That means you may not have had all your necessary documents to re-enter the US. And you need to have, you will get a 30-day window to respond with whatever CBP is asking you to do. If you're traveling inside the US, an updated signature is not required on your I-20 or DS 2019, though you are encouraged to carry all your original documents. Make sure you always have your I-94 with you. If you are traveling to another country that is not your country of citizenship, you may need a visa to enter that country. Please check with the embassy or consulate for that specific country. We do not advise on here at ISSS on other countries' requirements. We may be able to show you maybe the website of the consulate if you can't seem to locate it, but that's about the extent that ISSS would be able to help with that. There are some additional travel tips here, and you can check our website. It's always updated on what you need to know about. Again, you can view this information on our website. And then some of the important information to remember: enroll in a full course of study. If you want to transfer, drop, or change degree level, notify ISSS before taking any action. Remember the program completion date on your I-20 or DS 2019. You must submit requests to extend before this date, okay? So it cannot expire and then you request for an extension. No unauthorized employment. Only on-campus work for 20 hours per week is allowed. Update your address within 10 days in cases every time you move. Request travel signatures on your I-20 or DS 2019 1 to 2 weeks prior to travel. Keep all your immigration documents in a safe place. Make copies of your immigration documents for your record. Do not throw any I-20s or DS 2019s away. Obviously, now we live in a world where you can have those electronically, so make sure you save each and every new I-20 or DS 2019 you get from our office. It is your responsibility to maintain your status and ask ISSS before you act. Don't rely on others. Sometimes you talk to your academic advisor, but they may not know the immigration piece. Always come to us first. And now I'd like to touch base about some miscellaneous, and we'll point you to the website where you can find more information about them too. So your social security number process. In general, all non-immigrants must have permission to work in the US in order to apply for a social security number. So you can't just get a social security number because you want one. You need to have a work or employment lined up to apply for a social security number. So if you are eligible to apply, you would have to complete all steps on the ISSS survival checklist. You would have to submit the letter from the department verifying your employment to ISSS, and you would have to wait 10 days before submitting the application. And the application is online, but you must visit the SSA office in person with your immigration documents as well. You can see the link here on the website. And I will also pull it up on our website to see where you can find that resource. So on the purple ribbon, you navigate to resources and you click on Social Security information. And it talks about where to find the office, the Manhattan office, for example, who's eligible, and then how do I apply for a social security number. So you need to follow this process in order for a smooth social security application process. Some things that would delay your process of getting your social security number. For example, if you don't wait the 10 calendar days before you go to the Social Security office. You need to be in the US for 10 calendar days before you do this. So it is important that you follow these steps that are highlighted on our website to make sure that you get your Social Security number in a timely manner. Okay, then some of the additional information I'd like to point out. We have an international student fee. Every semester, each international student on an F4J visa at Kansas State University will be charged an international student fee of $200 per semester. Sponsor students will be assessed a fee of $275 each semester as well. This is paid by your sponsor. Use of email at K-State. According to the Kansas State Policies and Procedures Manual, email is an appropriate mechanism for formal communication by the university with faculty, staff, and students. If students choose to forward their mail to another email address, Gmail or Hotmail, their primary campus email address remains the official destination for official university correspondence. I believe that is no longer even allowed to forward your email to a different email address such as Gmail or Hotmail. So be sure that you read your K-State email and not forward it to a new email address that's not K-State. ISSS expects that communication will be received and read in a timely fashion. Faculty and staff and students are expected to check their email on a frequent and consistent basis in order to stay current with university communication. How to invite guests. So there is a few slides here that I won't talk about a lot, but know that all of these, which is inviting guests, driver's license and state ID, information regarding taxes, legal issues in the US, can be found on our resources website. And again, to show you where you can find that, on the purple ribbon, click on resources, and then you have all this information. You will be eligible to apply for some of our scholarships we have. Our process for scholarships, an application timeline is in the spring. And if you do receive a scholarship, it will apply the following fall semester. Again, tax information is very important. Once you are in the US, you are expected to file your tax return, even if you don't have employment. There is a form you need to file. And ISSS purchases Sprint Tax for you to use and file this. And you can find a lot of helpful information on the resources page. It will talk more about Social Security, dependents, and how to get a Kansas driver's license, anything about Manhattan transportations. If you're interested in maybe joining an international student association, how to invite guests, any English language programs we have, and then Manhattan recreation and activities. So please take a look at this, our website, whether that's talking about immigration or resources, all very helpful. And so make sure you utilize it. If there's anything that you cannot find on our website, please reach out to us. Again, the best way to communicate with us is through email at isss@ksu.edu. Now I'd like to welcome you to K-State and thank you so much for listening to this long immigration presentation. We really appreciate your attention and we're looking forward to meeting with you in person. Have a great day.